Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers gets brutally honest about his experience with John Harbaugh, Todd Monken, this and so much more on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Like the video. Yes. We are back with yet another episode of Quiet Storm Sports here on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. First and foremost, shout out to everybody watching right now live. If you're not watching live and you're part of the hashtag replay gang, a very special salute to you. Hopefully you're having a great day thus far. Again, I am your host, Sutton Def, and we're going to get into some very, very interesting topics today. So some news came out yesterday, right after, honestly, amid the whole jersey release thing, and this is why it kind of flew underneath everybody's radar. But later that night, I was doing some looking around on YouTube, and I saw this new interview, right? I saw this new interview chat, and it was Zay Flowers getting interviewed by the likes of Leonard Fournette and Jarvis Landry, whom I didn't even know that they had a podcast. Honestly, I didn't even know. Is Jarvis Landry retired? Somebody put that down below in the chat or the comment section, one of the two. Leonard Fournette, I just didn't know them boys had a podcast. Salute to them. It's called Fourth and South. I want to say Fourth and South. It's on the volume. And they interviewed Zay Flowers for about an hour and a half. And there was some very, very interesting nuggets to take away from that interview, to say the least. But listen, guys, before we get into anything else here today on this episode of the show, please be sure to leave a like, aka a thumbs up on this video. That goes a very, very long way for our channel here as we're trying to continue to grow our community that we have coveted and called the Rain Gang family. So if you want to join the Rain Gang family, please consider subscribing as well. And if you also want to get some extra perks out of this channel, maybe consider joining our channel membership. One of the biggest perks that we've got going right now is our giveaways. We do have another giveaway coming up on Monday, April 20th. We will be going live on PRP, the main pod, 8 p.m. Eastern. Special start time, 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday, guys. And we will be announcing a winner for the new Next Flight jerseys. There's going to be a lucky channel member here who's going to win a Next Flight jersey. So if you want a chance at that Next Flight jersey, and again, it is of your choosing, so you get to choose the player, you get to choose the color, all that good size, all that good stuff, and we will order it for you, Scouts Honor, here courtesy of the Purple Rain Podcast, just like we always do here with the giveaways on this channel, guys. It's nothing new, right? But yeah, if you want to have a chance to win, all you have to do is sign up for our channel membership right here on YouTube. It is 2 tiers. There's 2 tiers. You can sign up for any tier, and you will automatically punch your ticket for a chance to win on Monday. Now, one more thing I do want to mention. If you are participating in this and you are one of the members here on this channel, you do have to make sure you are in the live stream. You are actively in the live stream. 8 p.m. Eastern time is when we start on Monday, April the 20th, because if you're not in the live stream and we select your name, and you can't claim your prize, we got to give it to somebody else, right? We want to give it to somebody who's actually watching live and reward our live chat listeners and viewers. So again, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Again, at the end of the day, it's just another way of supporting the channel here and making sure that, we can continue to grow this community along with you guys. Now, listen, we've got some things to get into today. So like I said, I want to talk about the Zay Flowers situation, but I also want to talk about these Next Flight jerseys, right? These Next Flight jerseys came out just yesterday, and I've seen a lot of discourse online. It feels like 70% of the fan base feels really good about the Next Flight jerseys. The other 30% of the fan base is basically kind of like, this isn't enough change for me. It's not enough. They didn't do enough, right? So let's actually get into that first. Before we get into anything else here. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Let's see. Bring this up on screen. There we go. So here we're looking at all of the jerseys here. They're just in rotation. And a lot of people had a criticism for this new lineup of jerseys because it's not, again, like I said last night, a far cry away from what the Ravens already had, especially the primary jerseys. So the primary jerseys are going to be the ones that you just saw Roquan wearing. So that one right there is going to be an away jersey. That's an alternate with Lamar Jackson. That's also the home jersey primary. So home jersey is going to be purple jerseys, white pants. Away jersey is going to be white jerseys, purple pants, right? And to be honest with you, those primary jerseys don't really look too different from what the Ravens already had. But I will say this though. I will say this. I think that the Ravens, the designers, whoever it was who worked on this, they did a fabulous job, a phenomenal job at marrying the concept of modern jerseys with the gothic themes of Baltimore and the story behind the Ravens. I think it's the perfect blend between the two. And for that reason, again, like I said last night on stream, I give this grade, I give it an 8.7 out of 10. If I had to rate it out of 10, the entire jersey drop. Now, again, getting back to the people who say there was not enough done with these jerseys. It wasn't a big enough overhaul for, how they hyped it up and things like that. And to that point, I agree. I tend to agree. I don't think we necessarily needed, right? I don't think we necessarily needed 6,000 people to come out to wherever they had the event at yesterday, which our guy Simply AS10 was there. He sent me a bunch of videos. It looked really cool. But I don't think they really needed that with a cover band performing and all these theatrics and bells and whistles and things like that. But I get it though. Number one, I think that the Ravens, they do a really good job at kind of setting themselves apart from the rest of the league in terms of like, hey, we're doing a production over here. We're doing a production. See, me personally, I would have been just fine with that release trailer that they dropped yesterday. I'd have been just fine with that. And none of the big event, and again, the bells and whistles and coaches and legends showing up and all that. But I think it was important because of the new regime coming in. Stay with me here. I think that having Jesse Minter, Declan Doyle, Anthony Weaver, you've got a brand new nucleus of coaches in the building. I think it's important to see for them to see 6,000 fans show up for something as trivial as a jersey release. It was a uniform reveal. That's all it was. But over 6,000 dedicated, diehard Ravens fans showed up and showed out. It was crazy. It was crazy. What up, y'all? I see y'all in the chat. I'll continue this in a second here. Let me see. We're already talking about Zay Flowers. What up, Taurus? What up, Void? Void is in the chat. King Lee is in the chat. Kenny is in the chat. Glaucoma is in the live chat as well. Shout out to the live chat. Dylan, Chef Spicy Rice. I see y'all. Asmodeus. Lines aren't open today, brother. I actually can't stay too long. I can't hold you guys too long on this episode. Your boy Sutton's got some things to take care of today. But I promise you, it's still going to be a good one. Still going to be a good one. So again, kick back, relax. Grab your favorite drink, snack, or vice, as I normally say. Because we got some, like I always say, the Real Housewives of the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, we're talking about it. Anyways, furthermore, again, addressing the people who think that the Ravens did not do enough with these uniforms. I'll say this. I think that the Ravens making very small, minute changes in the details of their uniforms. And I don't know if they were thinking about it this way when they were designing it, but I think them really changing the small details and leaving it at that is an embodiment, a pure embodiment of where the actual football team, the Ravens, are right now. Because you think about it, where the Ravens are right now, they're not needing a full rebuild. Even with a new head coach, even with a new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, hell, whole new coaching staff, entirely new coaching staff. They're not rebuilding. There's still high expectations. The team is still very, very good. I think the same thing goes for the jerseys, right? It was already a design that worked. I've been up here and said I've never been the hugest fan of Ravens jerseys, but I understand that the design worked and it worked for a long time. You know what I mean? It just needed some small tweaks to the details, the fine details, right? Just like Harbaugh's system. I mean, it seems so great and so foolproof, and it's actually very ironic because we're going to get into this later when we start talking about Zay Flowers. But there was just a couple of things missing. The Ravens were at about 90% complete, 90% whole. There was just a 10% missing. You got to go in, fix those small details, come out, now you're at 100%. And I'm not saying these jerseys are perfect, but I think you guys catch my drift here. I'm glad they didn't change it completely. I'm glad they didn't change it completely. There did not need to be a full overhaul. All you needed was to change the details. And that's what we did. That's what we did. Let me read the chat here. Again, if you're part of the replay gang on this one, please comment down below. Hashtag replay gang. And let me know what you think about these jerseys. Do you agree with me in saying that, hey, look, it's justified them not switching it up entirely? Or what do you think? Let me know. Let me know. Let me see. King Lee says here, I like all the jerseys, especially the patches on them. Y'all sleeping on them purple alternate jerseys. I do love the ones. I mean, the patches are crazy. It's like the tonal patches. It's iridescent. You know what I mean? Under the lights is gonna go crazy. If I had to say my favorite combination, y'all, I would say, and I'm pretty sure I told you guys this yesterday too, but the white jerseys with the purple helmet. Honestly, if we're gonna be super honest here, the star of the show yesterday was the helmets. It was the helmets. It was that Darkness Falls helmet that Lamar has on right here. And it was that purple, the purple rising one that Zay Flowers has on there with the gold face mask. I want both of them. Give me both of them. However, again, I'll say this. When it comes to the helmets, if I had to choose which one that I would get first, I would probably go for, or no, let me put it this way. If I could only choose one, I'm actually not going to take the black one. Give me the purple one. The purple one just looks so clean, so clean under the lights. And then the gold face mask is what really does it for me. It's basically taking the purple rising helmets and just taking the front facing logo off of it and putting the other logo on it, the main logo. This one, right? I absolutely love that. I think if you took both of those helmets 30 years from now, you'd probably be more proud of the purple one. Just because, I mean, it's still going to give you that classic vibe, but also modern and kind of like shiny and in your face at the same time, if that makes sense. Love them. Love them, though. Let me see. JD, what's up? Red outline on the black jerseys would be clean to match the eyes. Mm, I see what you're going for there, Void. I see what you're going for. But I feel like that might be too much. Honestly, I would have liked a little bit of gold. I would have liked a little bit of gold on the black unis. Only problem with that is now you're starting to look a little bit close to Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that that's probably the reason why they didn't do it. But the red would also feel a little bit out of place to me. So I think that they nailed it. I think they nailed it. Mainly black, but then like they kind of a secondary purple in there. I think they had to use the alternate logo on the matte black, so it's on the alternative jersey. The Purple Rising helmet has the traditional Ravens logo, so they can wear it anytime. Yeah, and that's one thing we talked about yesterday. If they are wearing that purple helmet, that Purple Rising helmet, multiple times a year, that would make me a very, very happy Sutton. It really would. It really would. It would, because those helmets are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes. What we came here to talk about, right? The real housewives. The real housewives of the Baltimore Ravens. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, right? Last night, I'm scrolling through my timeline, scrolling on YouTube, trying to see what other content creators were covering these jerseys because I wanted to hear what all my peers in this space had to say about them. And then one video just popped up to the top of my algorithm. And what do you know? It's Zay Flowers doing an interview, a sit-down interview, hour and a half, 95-minute interview with the likes of Jarvis Landry, and Leonard Fournette, right? So I was like, you know what? Let me clip this. Let me put it online here. Because the Ravens flock, they need to see this. Literally, within the first 10 minutes of the interview, there was already scalding hot tea being spilled. Scalding hot. So we're going to start here. You see in my tweet here, I say that Zay Flowers just exposed how badly John Harbaugh was sabotaging the Ravens and how I'm so glad that he's gone. Let's take a listen to this.
Tackling damn near in practice? Y'all was tackling in practice?
Bro, we full pass.
All the time.
Nah.
Y'all was what, tackling damn near
in practice?
Y'all was tackling in practice?
Bro, we full pass.
All the time.
I'm be real. I ain't with that.
The NFLPA on the line.
However many practice passes you can get.
Yeah.
Oh, you getting them?
He using
Every
them.
single one.
100%.
Jesus.
Bro, we doing one-on-ones week 17.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Right. Well, my ankle hurt.
Week
What the
17,
hell?
we doing one-on-ones. Everybody out there, you tired. You
So
still going.
physically, your body, like, how you manage that though? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Don't like. That's why low key. That's why we had a lot of like injuries.
injuries, yeah.
Because how we practice, how we win.
All right, so that was the first clip there. So there you heard it. I mean, let me give you a little bit of context, just in case you haven't listened to the whole thing yet. Right before that first clip I just played for you guys, Zay Flowers had gotten done talking about how, he goes through his therapy and things like that with his ice baths, and he's getting ice baths in the morning before games, and he's taking portable ice baths on the road. He's just always having to ice his body because he's always sore, he's always banged up, right? Even going into game days, right? And he goes on to talk about, because Leonard Fournette asks him, he says, so how is that on your body? Like, how do you deal with that? And Zay Flowers says, like, you don't. And about as candid as ever, Zay Flowers tells the fan base, he says, hey, look, man, practice was grueling. It was brutal. He made it a point. This was information that they didn't ask for. I mean, again, think about it. We're talking about Leonard Fournette and Jarvis Landry. And those of you guys who watched the entire interview, you can tell that these guys aren't necessarily natural interviewers and good at pulling information out of people. Zay Flowers said this stuff unsolicited. They didn't ask him. Williams, appreciate that. Howdy, partner. Zay don't lie, says Mad Rasta. Mad Rasta also sends a super chat donation right before we hop back into this. Let me see what my guy Mad Rasta is saying here. Need NFLPA on the line. Yeah, because appreciate you for the $2 super chat donation, brother. Howdy. Let me see. So, yeah, and that's something else that I wanted to get into really quick, guys. Let's do this. Because Jarvis Landry said out of his mouth when Zay Flowers said, hey, look, man, John Harbaugh, he's got us in pads. literally every single practice. Like every practice was a padded practice. He made it a point to say, yeah, whenever we could possibly have a padded practice, we were doing it. Let's take another listen real quick.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Right. Why my ankle hurt today, boy.
Week
What the
17,
hell?
we doing one-on-ones. Everybody
Week
out there
17.
is
Week 17, they're doing one-on-ones.
tired. You
So
still going.
physically, your body, like, how you manage that though? You know what I'm saying? Like
Don't like that's why low key. That's why we had a lot of like injuries.
injuries,
like,
yeah.
And he's talking about, Zay Flowers says, that's why we had a lot of injuries. If that isn't about as damning as it gets, and I don't want to say he's throwing Coach Harbaugh under the bus, but hell, he kind of is. And I love it. And I love it because wake it up. Because now it's starting to add up. Now it's starting to make sense. Chat, listen to me. What was our biggest gripe with this football team the past 8 seasons? They were so dominant during the regular seasons, right? But then when the playoffs rolled around, they looked like they were out of gas. Right? And typically in sports, it's not always about who's necessarily more talented. It's not always about who's necessarily more skilled. But sometimes, and a lot of times, in professional sports, especially at the highest level, it's about who can go harder for longer. Who can go harder for longer? Think about it. Think about a professional fighter, like a boxer or a UFC fighter, an MMA fighter, right? A lot of those guys who are at the top level, and I think fighting, just to kind of set the scene for you, I think fighting is the purest form of competition. So what I'm saying has a lot of relevance here as it pertains to football. But a lot of the best fighters aren't the most skilled. They're not the most talented, right? Everybody at that level is talented. Everybody at that level is skilled. It comes down to who can go harder for longer. And what I think is happening or was happening here in the playoffs, since this game of football is such a game of inches by nature, it's a game of inches by nature. What I think was happening was the Ravens had all the talent and skill in the world, but they were going into these playoffs banged up and out of gas and not able to throw their best punch anymore. And then they get bounced out by lesser teams. See the Titans game in 2019. See the Bills game in 2021. See the Chiefs game in 2023. So, and what I'll also say is this, because I know a lot of you guys might be pushing back on me right now in the comment section, which is fine. You guys know I always welcome that. Some of you guys might be saying out there, oh, well, fatigue or whatever didn't make Zay Flowers fumble. It didn't make Lamar Jackson throw into triple coverage, yada, yada, yada. I get it. But when a player like Zay Flowers is peeling back the curtain for you like this and telling you what it is, you should listen. Because if you think that the first time Zay Flowers ever had this type of conversation with anybody was with Leonard Fournette and Jarvis Landry on a podcast, oh, I got oceanfront property to sell you in Kansas. Just for you. If that's what you think. So what this tells me, chat, is that Zay Flowers has been talking to the rest of his teammates about this too. And this is how they all felt. Friend of the show, Cordell Woodland, responded to my tweet here. And he said that, the truth is a lot of the younger guys in the locker room did not like Harbaugh. And if you don't know who Cordell Woodland is, he's a Ravens reporter, very close to the castle. But that's what he told me earlier today. A lot of the younger guys did not like Harbaugh. And this tells you Zay Flowers got up there and said his piece about it. You know. But let's move on here. Let's move on here. And not necessarily move on, but I have something else to show you guys. So let's take a look at this. Because when that video started going around, right? When that video started going around, Ari Myrov picked it up, Adam Schefter. Well, I think it was just Ari and a couple of other big names in the media space. But Morgan Adsit, who works for Fox Baltimore, she's a sports journalist, also close to the castle. She says, in response to Zay Flowers saying that they were always in full pads and doing one-on-ones late in the season, Morgan says you only get 14 padded practices in a season per the collective bargaining agreement rules. Majority of those have to fall in the first half of the season. Okay. So in other words, Morgan is saying that either John Harbaugh violated the CBA behind the league's back and nobody said anything, or Zay Flowers is lying and or exaggerating. There's no in between here. It's either one or the other. But Morgan was so purposely vague in her tweet here, we cannot really deduce exactly what she means. She just kind of plainly states here, as you guys can see, you only get 14 padded practices in a season per the CBA rules. And the majority of those have to fall in the first half of the season. Now, that second sentence, majority of those practices have to fall in the first half of the season. What that could tell me is that she thinks that Zay Flowers is lying here. That's what that's telling me. That's what that's telling me. Because Zay Flowers is like, oh, we were doing this all season, always in full pads. That feels like she's pushing back on it. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Let me see. Yeah, I remember the Ravens got fined for violating practices rules before. And remember, we got fined for messing around with the injury chart too. I don't remember the injury chart thing. Harbaugh is going to drive the Giants season in a big ditch this season. Watch. Listen, man, if I was a Giants fan, this would concern me. My antennas would be sky high right now if I were a Giants fan, especially playing on that MetLife turf. You telling me you're going to be running them into the ground all week? Zay Flowers made it a point. I didn't play it in the clip here, but he made it a point to say, I was running 10,000 yards in a game, 15,000 yards in a game. And then very next practice, I'm back running 10, 15,000. Like, they never gave me a break. They never let up. Basically saying, hey, look, they overworked us. Which is crazy. So that was the first part of it, right?
Yeah.
I want to get to the second part of it here in a second. I want to remind you guys to go ahead and like the video, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Again, this is the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. And this show is called Quiet Storm Sports. Here, our daily show where we talk about the Ravens and other sports as well when relevant. But today we talking Ravens because it's really been on my spirit. It's really been on my spirit. And we're going to get back to it here in just a second. Please be sure to like the video. We'll be back in 45 seconds. All right. We are back here with another episode again of Quiet Storm Sports. Be sure to like the video. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are enjoying the content. Okay. So we're back here. So back to Zay Flowers. Back to our guy, Zay Flowers. So we just talked about how Zay said that basically the team had been overworked, right? But now here he is talking about how the first thing he did when going to talk to Jesse Minter, when he found out he was head coach, he asked him, hey, man, how tough are these practices going to be?
Yeah, but I talked to the new coach. He worked with Harbaugh in 2017, so he know how it was. Like, he know that how we work with Harbaugh. So the new coach, he worked with Harbaugh in 2017, so he know how it was. Like, he know that how we work with Harbaugh. So he like, you gonna get your work, but like it's gonna be a little bit easier, like on your body. Where you're gonna be fresher for the game.
Right.
So that was the first talk I had with him. Like, hey, how practice gonna look? How
Yeah, no, that's
Good,
it.
yeah. Real
Cause
rap.
bro, on Friday, like we run it all week. Then Saturday, Saturday, I'm like, damn, my legs.
You still shot.
Yeah. So now my legs pick up. My legs start to recover on Saturday. Yeah, but I told.
So, wow. So you heard it there. You heard it there, folks. I mean, so Zay Flowers says there that, hey, look, man, he said that he went to Jesse Minter and said, hey, look, man, I just got to ask you, are these practices going to be anything like what it was underneath Harbaugh? And Jesse Minter said, well, you're definitely still going to get your work in. Don't get that twisted, but it will be easier on your body. See, here's the thing. John Harbaugh came from, I think, a generation, much like Mike Tomlin. They both came from a generation of just like work till the wheels fall off. If they do, great. We'll get them back on eventually. If they don't, all right, keep working. We got more work to do. And I think that in 2026, there's a flaw in that logic, only because at the highest level of this game, everybody works hard. You don't get to the NFL without working hard, right? So I think like excessive practices and stuff like that, and like Zay, if we're gonna take what Zay says for face value, the padded practices all season long, the one-on-ones in week 17, like still getting physical with each other in practice in week 17, when you're trying to like just make sure that you can make it to Sundays at that point, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. All that matters is the games, right? You get your work in practice, but you don't overdo it. You don't overdo it. Like Allen Iverson used to say. I mean, we're talking about practice. We're talking about practice, not the game, practice. Now, ironically, Allen Iverson never won a championship. One of my favorite players of all time. But he made a point there. Listen, these are professional athletes. They did not get to this point without working hard. Yes, you have them work hard, but you don't overwork them to the point where you have Zay Flowers, again, having to ice himself hours before a football game. Hours before a football game. And again, this is another reason why I believe the Ravens showed up flat down the stretch of seasons and into playoff series. I truly do believe it. Remember when Zay got injured before the Bills game? I do. You're talking about the 2024 season. Yeah. Let me see. James says AI was a dog. He had no one around him. Yeah, unfortunate. Unfortunate, man. Unfortunate. Shout out to the live chat again. Comment down below if you're part of the replay gang. Chef Spicy Rice says here the Ravens were following the Diamond Gym method. Oh, nah, for real, though. For real. They had them boys on a regimen. And you know, it kind of adds up and makes sense now when you hear guys like Lamar, well, not even hear him, but like you see guys like Lamar not show up to certain, training camps, practice, things like that, OTAs, things like that. Because like, listen, man, we know you guys are gonna work us like mules when the time comes. Right? But hey man, this is just again, it's crazy news to me that Zay Flowers was able to come out and just be so because he didn't have to, say these things about Harbaugh. Now I do want to say this. He did also mention in the interview, he said that, hey, look, like that has really taught me how to work hard. It's taught me how to work, harder and things like that. That's what Zay Flowers said. John Harbaugh's approach to coaching taught him how to work harder, how to show up and, all these things. So he kind of gave him some props there. But then he just kicked his back in after that. You know what I'm saying? Like basically saying, bro, like uh, I was like the guy with glass bones and paper skin from SpongeBob going into some of these games, and Harbaugh just didn't care. Ran 15,000 yards in this game. Next day, don't matter. Feel me? We're right back at it. And down the stretch of a season is crazy. Now to think that with Jesse Minter, because Jesse Minter said here that like you're still going to work hard, but we're going to make it easier on you guys' bodies. To think that we might be getting another level of play on Sundays out of guys because they're well rested, that excites me. That gives me a lot of promise for what I expect from Zay Flowers, the likes of Kyle Hamilton, who could definitely use it, right? Zay Flowers could obviously use it, like he's saying here. Lamar Jackson, most notably. I was about to say Derek Lewis. Derrick Henry. All these guys. To think that there might be an extra gear that could be unlocked that might have been being held back just because of fatigue, that is exciting. That's exciting. I'm not going to lie. Now, it was not just John Harbaugh who was getting his back kicked in by Zay Flowers today or yesterday. It was also Todd Monken in a way too. Let's take a listen to this one.
Deacon Doyle, he the same age as Lamar.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
He like 28, 29.
Do you like that? Do you like having a coach you feel like
you
you
might
can
have
relate
the
to?
same mentality as us.
Right.
Yeah.
Explosive. Let's go chase him.
Period.
All of them. Whether it's a run, pass, I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
As long as we explosive, bro, he got the same mindset.
No, 100%. Has he give you any insights on like how he's gonna potentially be using you this year? Like, cause
it's gonna be a little bit more usage.
Yeah,
it's gonna
bro.
be
I like
it's gonna be a little bit more usage.
I'm happy about that. I'm happy.
Talk to
about
him, Zay.
Get the ball in this man's hands.
Talk to him,
as
Zay.
many times as possible. If we want to
Tell
win
him for a minute, bro. Them boys don't want to listen to me though.
as many times as possible, please.
He said he tried to tell him for a minute. He tried to tell him for a minute, man. Listen, you heard it there. Zay Flowers, again, he didn't have to say that either. Zay Flowers came here. He came to this interview with a little bit of an agenda. I'm not going to lie to you. Because Zay Flowers, he's a smart dude. You know what I mean? He knows what saying that, oh, man, practice were tough, bro. Like I was in ice baths the morning of games. We had 1:00 games. I was in an ice bath at 9 a.m. You know what I mean? He knows what saying things like, man, I'm going to definitely be getting more usage this upcoming season. I tried to tell him before, but they ain't want to listen to me. He knows what that will do. He knows what saying that will do. And again, Leonard Fournette and Jarvis Landry are not seasoned interviewers, so they did not ask him for this information. He willingly provided it. Okay, so now here's the thing. Zay Flowers dominated the target share last year. Him and Mark Andrews were number 1 and number 2. So one might say, well, Zay, you were a big part of the offense. Like, what are you complaining about? What do you mean more usage? What I think he means is actually being used like a vertical down the field wide receiver. That's what I'm thinking he means. That's what I'm thinking he means here by this. Mad Ross, appreciate the super chat donation. Appreciate that, brother. Let me see what you say here. Let me see. My guy says Zay ain't big up Bateman this whole off season. He hasn't. I mean, he has mentioned guys like Tez and stuff like that, but you're right. He has not mentioned Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman was not a part of the media yesterday for the New Jerseys at all. He wasn't part of it at all. Rashad Bateman didn't even repost the New Jerseys on his Instagram page. I think I noticed that this morning. Maybe he has since then. I don't know, but to my knowledge, he hasn't. Crazier things have happened on draft night. I could see Rashad Bateman getting traded on draft night. I could see it. Would I love it? No. You guys know how much I love Rashad Bateman. But I could see it. Anyways, back to Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers wants to be utilized, again, like a down the field vertical threat number one wide receiver. And I feel like he feels like he was being held back by Todd Monken and basically always, either in the slot where, he belongs, right? But, a bunch of screen passes and things like that to where he's got to maneuver around outside linebackers, D linemen rally into him. He's got to maneuver around DBs. Zay Flowers like, no, get me down the field in space. Get me the ball 10, 15 yards down the field. Let me turn up field and do my work against these DBs. Because it takes a lot out of him when you throw him a wide receiver screen on 2nd and 8 or whatever, and he's got to dance around an edge rusher and then a DB and then the safeties rotating over. Like, that takes a lot out of him, and it makes it look like he tries, but it makes it look like he's doing a whole lot for nothing. You guys remember a lot of plays where Zay Flowers did a whole lot that led to nothing. I think that Zay Flowers wants to get the football further down the field so he can turn up field and basically go one-on-one with these DBs. Now, he's still got to run straight more often, but I think that's what he's wanting. So it's good to know that he's already collaborating with Declan Doyle. And for some reason, he calls him Declan Doyle. I'm not really sure why. Even Jarvis Landry in this interview, he doesn't correct him, but he just kind of says Declan. And I think Zay is just kind of stuck on saying Declan. Again, don't know why. It was weird. But anyway, anywho. I love the fact that they're already collaborating with each other, and the fact that Zay Flowers is saying that, hey, look, man, this guy might have a similar mindset to us, like same mentality. We want to attack, be explosive. We don't need to be conservative. We're not the type of offense that has to be conservative. You know what I mean? Like, we're not the Dolphins. We're not, you know what I mean? Like, we're not one of these abysmal offenses in the league. Maybe the Dolphins wasn't the best example, but you guys get my point. So, again, love that from him. I thought that was huge that he mentioned all those things. Chef Spicy Rice says, I've heard Lamar is hanging out with Declan and talking football. Where'd you hear that? Where'd you hear that? Because that'd be dope. Well, Declan did say yesterday that he had been talking to him for the last 2 weeks. Right? So that could be it. That could be it. Pretty much ever since, the voluntary open practices started, the OTAs and things. What up, Chris? I see you in the chat. Kwame, I see you in the chat. What up? What up? Tanja, what up? She says, oh, yeah, Bateman wasn't in that video. I just realized that. Wow, yeah. Yeah. It's, I could totally see. Rashad Bateman being traded. It's in the cards. I don't want it, but it's in there. Now he's picking out outfits for the baby shower. Come on now. Come on, man. Don't do him like that. Don't do him like that. Okay. What else do we have here? So love the fact that he's collaborating with Declan, him, Lamar. They should have a great time scheming up plays together. They've got all the tools to get it done. I think there was one more. Oh, this one was kind of funny.
Nah, I seen Lightly catch it. You feel me? You at the 20, so you like, damn.
So here he's talking about on the last play or the last drive of that Steelers game that we lost to end the season last year. He's talking about how when Likely caught the ball, and then what happened
He
next.
close. But from a kicker perspective, you got to add the 10, you got to add the 7.
Yep.
So when I'm on the field, I'm like, oh, yeah, this game. I'm talking shit. I'm talking to them boys. Game over. Sorry, I'm talking to them, talking. And then I'm walking out the field, and I look back. I kind of like look back. I'm like, damn, we kind of far. Like, as I see
Can't
the
speak
field
too
go, I'm
soon,
like, damn, we
Zay.
kind of far. Put my helmet down. I'm like, I ain't even going to look. Kick. Boom. Somebody like, he made it. So I turned around, hype. But I see all the yellow towels just waving. They screaming. I see the kicker on the field crying. I'm like, oh my God. I just put my helmet on and took off to the locker room. And I was just talking trash too. That would kill
Be like that, man. Be like that.
me. I just put my helmet on and hit it straight to the locker room.
So, from a player point of view, right? When it comes to being superstitious, like for me,
Yeah.
I have to watch it.
Yeah.
Right? You just said you put your helmet down, you turned your head. I have to watch it. So, for you, if you could redo it again, would you watch it instead of turning your head? Maybe if you would have watched it,
Right.
a different outcome.
My eyes ain't controlling me.
Nah, but I feel him though. I feel Leonard Fournette on that one though. Like, you get what he's saying? Like, if like I couldn't stand to not watch a final kick. Like, if, I'm a diehard Ravens fan. Have been since I was a wee lad. You know what I'm saying? And never once have the Ravens been in a position where it's like a field goal to win or lose the game. And I turned my head away because I didn't want to see the outcome because just the anxiety was killing me that much. No, I want to watch. I want to see the moment as it unfolds. As it unfolds. Because I need to be able to take that in. And I am a little bit superstitious about it. Like, I feel like if I watch it, there's going to be a better outcome. If I don't watch it, like, I just feel what Leonard Fournette is saying here. And like the video if you feel it too. Like the video regardless, guys. I mean, we'd appreciate that. Again, helps us out a ton here at PRP. But, man, that's a tough story. That's a tough story, man. I mean, that's rough. That's rough. All right, but listen, guys. And this is going to be, let me see. This is going to be on the subject of, so we're getting off Zay Flowers. Again, great interview. If you haven't checked it out already, go check it out. It's Fourth and South on the Volume. I think it's a new thing, to be honest with you, but definitely check out the interview if you've not already. But those are my thoughts on Zay Flowers. Again, in closing, it was crazy to me that he was able to be so candid talking about John Harbaugh the way that he did, basically throwing him under the bus, guys. And also, I love the fact that, he's working with Declan Doyle very closely already, checking in on him and things like that. He said he's asking him about the family and then asking about, okay, what plays have you drawn up recently? I love that. Because listen, it's only April. We still have May, June, July, August, September. So we got 5 months. Okay, time's actually moving kind of. Okay, it was just 7 months, right, guys? It was just 7 months, and now we're down to 5 months. I'll take that. I'll take that. But yeah, we're 5 months out from football, and they're already collaborating the way they are. I love that. I love that. By the way, guys, draft is next week. Draft is next week. We're gonna have a crazy lineup of shows here at the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel next week. So please, please, please be sure to not only subscribe to the channel, but please hit that notification bell if you have not already, so you will be notified anytime we go live. Again, we're going to have a crazy amount of guests this week. It's going to be very, very cool. Your boy Sutton is putting on his producer hat and trying to produce a good show, continue to produce good shows for you guys. So go ahead and please subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Okay? All right. So one more thing before we get out of here. One more thing. So this news also came out today. Who was it? Okay, look. Texans, the Houston Texans, in breaking news, they came to an agreement with All-Pro defensive end Will Anderson Jr., having agreed to a contract extension that makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in football, surpassing Micah Parsons. It is a 3-year, $150 million extension with $100 million fully guaranteed. Listen, man. Listen. This is insane. This is insane. And Ari Marov says here, a new standard has been set. That's the key. They changed the game with this one, guys. They changed the game. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if we take a look at the other edge defender contracts in the league. So here is Spotrac, right? Or Spotrac, however you pronounce it, right? And it shows the edge defender contracts in the NFL. And this is updated to the minute or the hour or whatever. But Will Anderson's deal is on here, right? You guys can see it. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth down the line here in terms of total value of his contract. But when you look at the amount of years, it's only a 3-year deal, which means he's going to be able to re-up in just a few seasons. But a 3-year deal for $150 million. That gives him an average salary of $50 million per season. Per season. So if you sort it out for that, he's beating out everybody. That's $4 million more than Micah Parsons, $5 million more than Aiden Hutchinson, $9 million more than TJ Watt, $10 million more than Daniil Hunter, right? $10 million more than Myles Garrett. This is where the league's going. Salary cap is going up, but these player contracts, man, they just continue to get higher and higher and higher with less years. And I think that's the precedent that a lot of these players want to set, guys. They want less years on their contract. They want less years on their contract and the max amount of money you'll give them. That way they can get out of these deals, go somewhere else and re-up or resign, you know? So it sets a crazy precedence. Now, when I saw this news, I had to look. I had to look and see, okay, well, what are we paying our star edge rusher, Trey Hendrickson, in comparison to that? You know, we signed Trey Hendrickson to 4 years, $112 million with an average salary of $28 million. That's after a $20 million signing bonus, of course. So we're getting Trey Hendrickson on a deal, on an absolute deal when you think about it. And like in retrospect, it's like, listen, man, or in hindsight, it's like, yes, I would have loved to have Max Crosby. Would Max Crosby have looked insane in those Darkness Fall unis? Absolutely. But in hindsight, which we know is always 2020, guys, this was the better move. This was always the better move. It was always the better move. So Mike says, why would you pay 10 M's over Miles? It's just the market, bro. And don't get me wrong, Will Anderson Jr. is like that. He's like that. But that's just where the market's going. And especially when you consider D-end, that's a premium position. Those premium positions, quarterback, D-end, wide receiver, left tackle. Quarterback, D-end, wide receiver, left tackle. Those 4 positions right there, they will pay you whatever. Literally, whatever. If it's your time and you've been producing. So, again, guys, this is where the league is going. I'm glad that we locked up Trey Hendrickson on a good deal. Hopefully we have guys like Miles Green. Not Miles Green. I try to fuse Garrett and Mike Green. But Mike Green. Hopefully we have guys like Mike Green who can step up. Maybe we draft somebody else this year who can play for cheap for us. But, yeah. Listen, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Don't forget to join the Rain Gang by liking and subscribing. Chris says Sutton went to a rodeo today, or no, I didn't go to a rodeo today. I've decided that I'm going to always throw on the Ravens hat whenever I feel like it's a good time to be a Ravens fan. And you guys might say, well, Sutton, it's always a good time to be a Ravens. No, the hell it is not. And y'all know it. But right now it is. Right now it is. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for coming through to this episode of Quiet Storm Sports here on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Listen, guys, we will be back again next week. It's going to be a huge week here on the channel, so do not miss out on any of our episodes. We got tons of draft coverage, interviews, guests, all of the above. And of course, our giveaway on episode 400. If you join the channel membership, you will automatically be entered for a chance to win a giveaway of these Next Flight jerseys, okay? Void with the last minute super chat donation at the buzzer here. It says Adisa Isaac, 16 sacks, 3 years, 140 full, guaranteed soon. All right. And on that note, we're gonna go ahead. And on that note, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up here. 16 sacks, 3 years. Lord, man. Adisa Isaac, man. The world may never know. The world may never know. Appreciate you, Void. Appreciate you, Void. Mike says Sutton didn't want me to win back-to-back Lemon Olympics today. I didn't do it today because, listen, guys, this morning my schedule got entirely thrown off. We had a power outage in our area. Literally, the power was out for hours. So that kind of threw off my schedule. But we will be back again next week with Sudden Reactions. Got to make a couple tweaks to the show, guys, but be patient with me. Be patient with me. We will be back with it. Again, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Have a great week and a safe weekend. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.